You see, I remember growing up completely different than the way these kids grow up today. I mean, I don't come from a perfect home. I don't come from a perfect life. I didn't have a perfect life. Like, I remember my mother being beat up by my father. I remember my father damn near killing my mother. You know, I remember sleeping in hotels. I remember sleeping in motels. I remember being in a homeless shelter. I remember all of these things. I remember nights where we had to stay at my grandparents' house because my mother's eyes were black. She couldn't even see. She had to wear patches over her eyes. I remember the police coming to lock my father up on numerous occasions. I remember these things as a child. I remember my dad getting in a car pursuit with all of his children in the car, including myself. I remember him striking a tree and getting out and leaving us there for dead. I remember these things. Like, these are not something that just disappears. But you see, I learned something from that. And I think that's the difference between when I grew up and today's age, is that these kids don't want to learn. You know, and not even just kids, like the people in this generation now have an entirely different mindset than what I was taught growing up. Like, these kids want to blame everybody else. Of course, I could sit there and say, my father is the reason why I am where I am, had I chosen to go a different route. Absolutely. Absolutely. After what I've seen, I can absolutely say, Dad, you're the reason why I can't make it in school. You're the reason why I can't find a job. You're a reason why I'm out on the street selling drugs. I can absolutely say that. But you see, I believe that in life, we come to a crossroad. At some point in your life, I don't care what point it is, but at some point in your life, you will come to a crossroad. And at that crossroad, you can either go left or you can go right. Left is the easy route. Right is the route where you are going to face some challenges. You are going to have to overcome some obstacles. But I find, and I have found, that many people like the easy route. But when they take the easy route, they may live a comfortable life. When they take the easy route, they may not live a comfortable life. But in the end, they blame others for why they chose to take the easy route, why they chose to take the easy way out of life when they had the same opportunity that successful people did. Many people like to run from their pain. They like to run from suffering. The average human doesn't like to suffer, so in that they live an average life. You have to be willing to put yourself through pain. You have to be willing to put yourself through adversity, because that is the only way to build character. And I'm not saying that taking the easy way out of life is a bad thing. I mean, some people live great lives, raise great families, successful children, absolutely. But they take their talents to the grave because they never had the opportunity to manifest exactly what they were capable of. See, I like to think of life as a book. I like to think of it as a novel. And each and every day that we live, we are writing a page on that novel. But you see, people like to read other people's books and try to be like them, when in fact, they should be reading their own book and writing their own novel and setting their own standard. But no, instead of going right, people like to go left. Instead of taking the hard route, instead of putting themselves through pain, instead of persevering and learning tenacity, they would rather read somebody else's novel and try and mimic what they do. See, life is about character. It's about building yourself. It's about understanding who you are as a person and achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve out of life. It's not about being somebody else. It's not about trying to mimic somebody else. Everybody wants to be somebody else and neglect to be themselves. And when it doesn't work out, well, it's my dad's fault for doing this. It's my mom's fault for doing this. It's the government's fault for doing this. when in fact, you had the same choice that everybody else did. But instead, you went left and decided you were going to mimic society. You were going to mimic somebody else instead of going right and writing your own novel of history. We all have the same choice to be better and to do better. That right there, that's character.